Good morning, Internet fans. It's Ryan Perry with Simple Biz Support. It is Internet Marketing Thursday, and I have to apologize. As soon as we started this episode, I've got banging going on at the building. So it's either a very large woodpecker or somebody's doing maintenance on the building. I have no control over it, so if you hear banging, it is what it is. Uh, it is Thursday, and therefore I have Virginie Dorn, CEO of Business Website Center down in Petaluma. Good morning, Virginie.
Good morning, Ryan. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing wonderful as long as this banging doesn't continue all day. They're actually painting the building, so I'm assuming they're trying to fix some stuff before they put paint over it, but it is what it is. I'm sure the building will look much nicer when they're all done.
I hope so. After all that banging with the paintbrush.
I mean, it was literally like as soon as I hit, okay, let's start the broadcast. I'm like, really? Come on. But it is what it is. So we should probably move on, though. And today we are going to talk about keywords and doing some keyword research, what the difference is between a keyword and maybe long tail keyword. And then things are getting a little bit more complicated when it comes to keywords these days because with the voice-activated software like Siri, and then Google's putting their product out, and I'm trying to think if it was IHC or one of the other phone manufacturers has their own version of Siri now. So versus typing in Dennis Santa Rosa, now we're going to be talking more in a natural way, as you put it, where it's Siri, find me a dentist in Santa Rosa. Therefore, the search term is going to be completely different.
Yes, so that's becoming more common, not just phones too, because now you have screens and desktop computers when you can talk to. So people are doing less typing and more talking to a screen, which is kind of weird in a way, a bit science fiction, but it's happening everywhere in offices across America. So we do have to take into consideration the natural way people ask a question when searching for something on the internet. Now that they can speak them, they tend to use more words. When they type it, they tend to use less words. So this is all important and to take into consideration when you're interested in search engine optimization. I do not hear you.
Sorry, I muted my microphone because of the banging going on, and I have to remember to unmute it. This is just going to be a great episode, I can tell.
It's like live TV. I love it.
Yes, it's the best. There's a reason why I never got on the news.
Well, let's talk about what a keyword is.
Words come out of it. I was talking about the fact that Google had an update earlier this year, and I forget the name of it, and it basically had to do with changing their algorithm to better understand, that visual or that voice search, because Google's all, started out, all we had was a keyboard, and so it was dentist, and we might go, oh, geez, a dentist gave me a return from a national level, and I really don't care about dentists nationally. So then we got smarter and we said, okay, dentist Santa Rosa as an example, and then Google said, oh, okay, you want local, and then Google got even smarter and started, then we had the local map section, which is now Google Business, where we type in dentist, and Google said, oh, well, we're smart enough now that we can know that it's probably on a local search. So they had a separate database for that. And then this latest algorithm update, and gosh, I want to say it was 6 or 9 months ago, they are targeting people that are actually speaking. So it'll be interesting as Google gets smarter about the voice side of things, if they're going to blend the two together, that if I say, Siri or Google, you can't say Siri because Siri's not using Google search engine, but if it's a Droid phone and we're using Google and we say, hey, Google find me a dentist in Santa Rosa, is that search result going to be the same as a search result for somebody who types in dentist? Because ultimately we're looking for the same thing, even though we're typing, saying it differently.
Yes. So again, that ties it into the long-term keywords, and what they are is the combination of 5 or 7 more words in a search. So you said dentist, maybe dentist then specialize in small children in Santa Rosa, California. That would be long-term keywords. It's actually estimated that now over 70% of searches on the internet on Google, not on the internet, on Google, are now long-term keywords. So as a SEO person, you and I, and as customers then on websites, you really have to pay more attention to those long-term keywords. And there are huge advantages as being found for a very specific keyword sentence. I wrote down a few notes here. First, they bring more targeted visitors to your site because you're actually truly answering a unique need that searcher has. So if you specialize in young children and you're a dentist and you're in Santa Rosa and they find you, you're a perfect match for them. So you have a much higher chance of turning the prospect into an actual sale. They are less competitive as well. Everybody wants to be found for dentists, but unless you're 1-800 dentist, truly it's not as interesting as being found as the gentle dentist for small children in Santa Rosa. You have more chances there than trying to be found for dentists across the nation. And for most businesses, it makes no sense to be found in New York if you're in California. So I always have to kind of calm down my customers and telling them, I know you want to be found for dentists, but truly you have a small radius around your office and people can attend. So being concerned by your city and your county is so much more important than being found by someone in Utah.
Right, and that's where when you're building out content for your website, you want to make sure that you geo-target, or that is to specify which cities you want to be found in. And a lot of people are now getting smarter about content. And dentist is a great one, because if you ever looked up dentist articles, blogs, articles, any type of stuff, it was always, well, how do you whiten your teeth? Well, how do you brush your teeth? How many times should I flush? How many times should I floss my teeth? All real generic, boring stuff. And as content writers have gotten smarter, as SEO people have gotten smarter also, they're starting to actually write about things that their community wants to hear about. So the reality is, as an individual, I don't necessarily just want to hear about dentist stuff from a dentist. Yes, I need to make sure that they know what they're doing, but I'm going to be more engaged if they're talking about local events, local festivals, local going on, what's going on in Santa Rosa that interests me. I'm more likely to engage with them because there's a higher interest level. And now from a marketing point of view, you have me top of mind because I'm engaging with you on a regular basis, and that's very beneficial, especially in social media. So when you do write content, I had one content writer that I used for a while who was fabulous, and she would write about the different type of foods that you could get at a farmer's market that were healthy for your teeth. And it was, so now we're incorporating a local Santa Rosa farmers market, and we actually talked about the specific farmers market, where you could go, what time it was, and all those type of things. But we still tied it back to dental care, and so there was a relevancy there, therefore a higher interest. And from an SEO point of view, we're talking about dental care, we're talking about Santa Rosa, so we're geo-targeting, we're bringing those two things together, making it more likely to be found on Google or Santa Rosa as an example.
I agree with you. Geo-targeting is extremely important, and people keep forgetting about it. One thing for the users out there, or the site owners, to keep in mind is if you are going to geo-target for a specific service, make sure it's included in your content. Not just the meta title, the meta description, the meta keywords that are kind of hard-coded at the top of your page for the bots, but also in the content itself. So again, dentists for small children in Santa Rosa, at some point throughout your content, you have to have those keywords put clearly visible and readable by the bots, and they have to be exact terms too. So if you want to be found for that exact keyword search, it has to be written exactly the same at least once, two, maybe three times throughout the content. And you and I always talked about writing for Google versus writing for natural people, humans. And it's more important to write for humans. As Google has got very smart about it, they would know when you're trying to do keyword stuffing. So make sure you include the keyword in your copy. Make sure you do an exact term match at least once in your content. And another thing I think we talked about is targeting a one keyword search per page, and not try to be found for everything, every location, every service on one single page. You dilute the message. It doesn't work. People have tried. I want to be found for everything and anything. Yeah, well, you get found for nothing if you do it that way.
Yeah, and you know, that's where blogging is so important. It's amazing how many, especially small business, you know, and for me, small business is somebody who has a local audience. So it's just an attorney, auto body shop. You know, typically they're only looking for clients in 1 to 2 cities, maybe a county, those type of things. But you look at their content or their blog, and you did a blog like 5 times last year, and then it didn't work for them, so they stopped blogging. And when we talk about long-tail keywords, when we talk about geo-targeting, all of these things tie into blogging so very well, because one blog correctly written about a long-tail keyword such as, you know, small child dental care, as an example, it's really hard to put that into a website all by itself. Unless you truly do just specialize in small children, then you might have a single page on your website that just talks about that. But you may not be able to go, geez, you know, if you're a dentist and you want to be found in 5 different cities, you got to put all 5 of those cities into one article. And like you just said, when you do that, you start devaluing quality of that article, because Google's saying, well, geez, is this really about Santa Rosa, is it about Windsor, is it about Petaluma? What is it about? Versus if you blog, you can have one blog that talks about Santa Rosa, one blog that talks about Windsor. The downside is it takes more time. Yes. It takes more work. However, if you're going to be in business long term, you want to add this quality. You want to add quality content. These are assets that you're building into your website. And I feel like I'm talking a lot today for some reason. So
you're fine.
Do me a favor and tell me something wonderful.
About your haircut, maybe? Maybe not. I did have some little notes. Let me see. Well, how do people find keywords? Oh, you know, one thing people don't realize is, depending on which way you put your keywords, it will render different results. So a therapist for families is different than a family therapist. So even though they almost sound identical, the order in which the words are placed will render different results and different ranking. So something to take into consideration.
Yeah, and I think what's important is that people, that if they're still a little confused about Google, the algorithm, all they have to realize is that Google is the algorithm itself is a mathematical formula, but it's in a computer, so it's all zeros and ones.
Yes.
So therapy, you know, is broken down into zeros and ones. Therapist is broken down into zeros and ones, and guess what? It looks different. Therefore, it is different. You know, Google is being a computer. Computers are typically very black and white in the sense that they only can do what they're told to do.
Yeah, and you should do research. Like therapy and therapist is a very good example. If you look at family therapy versus family therapist, you go to Google AdWords or Google Webmaster, Google Analytics, you can see the value of each of those combinations. And one is going to be more searched than the other. I can't remember if it's therapy or psychologically, or lawyers versus attorney. Based on where you are in the country, people are going to use lawyers more frequently on the East Coast, but on the West Coast, they tend to favor attorneys. Same profession, different ways of describing the service. So you have to do your research before you start targeting therapist or therapy to make sure that's in line with what people are actually looking for.
Yeah, totally. And I hate to tell you this, but it's 10 o'clock already, so our time is up. I know there were some other things we wanted to get into, which is we talked about keywords, we talked about the importance of keywords in SEO, but where do you go and how do you find this information? And a lot of people I don't think understand or realize that you can actually find it for free on Google.
Yes.
And I'm thinking next week, why don't we talk about that? Because that's an all-day subject anyhow. Getting logged into Google and actually doing some keyword research, and maybe we'll do some screen shares and those type of things.
Sure. Talk about Google Trends and all those free tools that are available to anybody who has a
Yeah,
computer.
exactly. All right. With that being said, I hope everybody enjoyed this broadcast. It was a little bit of an interesting one. But Virginie, as always, I appreciate your time, and I hope you have a wonderful day.
You too.
All right.
Goodbye.
Take care. Bye.